Welcome, everyone. It may rain today, but our spirits won't be dampened. My name's Scott Klein. I'm Vice President of the National Housing Trust and NHT Enterprise Preservation Corporation. We're one of the developers of Liberty Place. NHT Enterprise has been preserving affordable housing in the district since 1999. In the past, NHT Enterprise completed only acquisition rehab projects. And to date, we've completed 10 such projects here in the district, representing over 1,000 affordable apartments. Today, we're particularly excited that Liberty Place will be our first new construction project in the district. We couldn't be more pleased that this project comes at this time with these neighbors, with these partners, and in this neighborhood. We look forward to opening the doors of this building to working households as well as formerly homeless and veterans so that they too may enjoy affordable housing in this incredibly vibrant community. Liberty Place is an extraordinary example of public-private community partnership. We have for-profit developers, a nonprofit developer, the city, a church, a bank, an investor, and a government-sponsored enterprise all coming together to create 71 units of affordable housing here in the District of Columbia. That's a partnership. Here in the district where the walkability score is 96 out of 100, here in the district where the ride score is 96 out of 100, and there are 4 metro stations within walking distance. Here in the district where around the corner is a grocery store, a hardware store, churches, a library, a rec center, restaurants and cafes, and where we are close to downtown employment center and jobs. It is a beautiful thing. It is, as far as partnerships go and public purpose, it doesn't get much better than this. Thank you all for being here on this celebratory day. And now, before we proceed further, I'd like to introduce Reverend Thomas BOWEN, who will lead us in an opening prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty God, the master builder, we invoke your presence on this sacred soil so that our labor will not be in vain. We give thanks for the joy that is this day. We thank you for Mayor Bowser, Deputy Mayor Kenner, and Director Donaldson, and their ministry of affordable housing. We thank you for Mount Carmel Baptist Church and their love for neighbors and neighborhood, and their determination to be of earthly good. Continue to bless the many wonderful partners that make this and other affordable housing projects possible with their focus on the triple bottom line. Remind us that the walls that we need to build are walls like these that will bring 71 families together and not separate or tear them apart. We ask these, all of the things, and the many names that we use to dial you up, and that in those names, amen. Amen. Now it is my pleasure to present to you my mayor, our mayor, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am just delighted to be here to celebrate another installment in our vision of creating more affordable housing for DC residents. So I want to give everybody involved a big round of applause. Let me acknowledge the wonderful church community here at Mount Carmel who had a vision and put it together, found a great development team and partnership to expand on what Reverend Bowen and his office focus on each and every day. And that is how we work with faith communities across the District of Columbia who not only have a great ministry within their 4 walls, but also have some land. They have some land that can expand what they're doing inside the four walls of the church. And I told Reverend Bowen this, and I'll tell all of you, I love working with churches on affordable housing because churches don't just have the profit and bottom line motive at the end of the day. They have a greater purpose, and they have been invested in Washington, D.C. for decades and decades and some centuries. So you are now witnessing a big part of our efforts in the Bowser administration to expand affordable housing in our city. Now, you may just think what's today? June 22nd. But what it also is it's the conclusion of June Housing Bloom. And we have focused every year in my term on how we expand affordable housing during the month of June. And our Department of Housing and Community Development, led by Polly Donaldson, let's give Polly a big hand, has been at the center of that. We all know that we're a fast-growing city, right? We're 700,000 people now in Washington, D.C. Now, we've been over 700,000 people, and some people here will remember when we were a city of over 800,000. But the truth is our population declined, and we haven't been this big since the early 70s when I was born in Washington, D.C. So a growing city is a good thing. Mayors across the country would trade places with me because you want to be in a city where people want to come, not want to leave, right? Where businesses want to start and hire and create jobs, and so that you have a vibrant and growing city. But when you are growing fast, it also creates a lot of pressures. We all know that increased demand means increased prices. So what we have to do every single day is figure out how we can create more and more housing to help drive down the cost of housing in our city. I committed 4 years ago that we would spend more money than we've ever spent as a city in our Housing Production Trust Fund, and that's $100 million a year. And when you add it up with everything else that we do in housing supports in our city, we know that we spend over $1 billion every year to create and preserve affordable housing in Washington, D.C. I am proud that even just in the last couple of weeks, our Housing Production Trust Fund invested over $100 million in units in all 8 wards across the District of Columbia, much like this very creative project. Now, what you will hear from the speakers who will follow me is that projects like this sometimes take a long time. They can sometimes be complicated. They involve a lot of people, the government, banks, communities, bids, everybody getting involved to figure out how they can make sure that we have the type of housing that we want. This project does exactly that. Liberty Place is an example of what we can accomplish when everybody shares in the vision of creating more affordable housing. With this project, we have a church who recognized the value of donating land in one of the hottest neighborhoods in the District of Columbia. And for that act, we are tremendously grateful. What we will see in Liberty Place is 71 affordable housing units, all of which will serve Washingtonians with incomes below 60% of the area median income. And very importantly, to our goal of ending homelessness in Washington, D.C., this project will also include 14 permanent supportive housing units for our most vulnerable residents, including 7 units specifically dedicated to veterans who are exiting homelessness. So I want to thank this community for embracing a truly affordable project, embracing Washingtonians who need a hand up, and I want to just also invite you to be an example to the rest of the city. So when Reverend Bowen and when Polly are going out to talk about all of the things that we can do together to have diverse and affordable communities, we will be able to point to Liberty Place as a great example. So let me thank the church again, the development team, the banks, all of the architects and workers who will be involved in making sure we have a beautiful project that we all can be proud of. Congratulations. I think Mr. Klein is going to come back up, or let me just introduce our deputy mayor. I talked to you already about Polly Donaldson, who works as part of our economic development and housing team. And our leader of our economic development team, who's just been doing a bang-up job for us for these 4 years, is Brian Kinner. Brian Kinner.
Thank you, Mayor. How's everybody doing? Let's do that a little bit more. It's raining, but we can do better than that. How's everybody doing? Yes, thank you. This is a good day. This is a good day. Rainy day, but a great day. Thank you all again for being here. Again, I'm Brian Kenner, the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. This project, and you'll hear this a lot this morning, is special. It's special because of the partners that it has. It's special because of the opportunities that it's going to create. And it's special because it also took a long time. It took a long time for this project to come together, but something that not only over multiple administrations, but more importantly, took a lot of commitment from people over many different years to make sure that that happens. One of the things that my office is responsible for is making sure that we focus on three things. We've got to be focused on affordable housing, we've got to be focused on tax revenue, and we've got to be focused on jobs in the District of Columbia. And in order to be focused on those things, and to make sure that projects like this occur, it takes a lot of people. It literally takes a village. And so I want to say a few thank yous to the DEMPED project team, Javier Beltran, who is the project attorney, Jennifer Castor, Marie Whitaker, Emily Morris, formerly in our office, who I think I saw a little bit earlier. But a special thank you to the project manager who got to this project, as he just told me, I think in 2004, when he was working actually at a sister agency before it was consolidated in Deputy Mayor's office. I'd like everybody to give a big round of applause to Caton Gada, who has been with this project since it began. Also, a number of communications people, Kate Hardig, Jessica Kerr, Oshonda Washington, and a nod to Gwen Cofield from DHCD's Communications, also from making sure that this important project happened. As I mentioned, we've got three jobs: affordable housing, tax revenue, and making sure the D.C. residents get jobs. This project will create 71 units of affordable housing. It will provide 50 construction jobs to people being able to work on this project. It will provide tens of millions of dollars of additional tax revenue ultimately over 30 years or so to the project. But also, importantly, it will provide $9 million to certified business entities. Those are D.C.-based companies being able to work on this project. And so projects like this not only help to provide literally a roof to people, but they provide economic opportunity to many other folks, including many D.C. residents who will be associated with this. As has been said before, this is also going to be providing literally a roof to many of our most vulnerable residents. It provides that opportunity within walking distance of many forms of public transportation, as well as in this thriving Mount Vernon area of Washington, D.C., and provides an opportunity for us to partner with a fantastic faith-based organization, Mount Carmel Baptist Church, as well. These kinds of projects are the ones that in our office we want to be doing more of, frankly. We're about to announce over the next 30 days or so 4 additional projects that we hope will have similar impacts to the one that we see here today. We have a project located in Ward 6 on 2 Patterson Street. We have a project in Ward 7 close to Eden Place. We have a project in Ward 8 that's right off of Howard Road across the street from the Anacostia Metro. And we have, finally, another project in Ward 8 very close to the Congress Heights Metro on the St. Elizabeth's East Campus that we will all be releasing within the next 30 days to hopefully provide the same kind of benefit, not just economic, but really speaking to the fabric speaking to the neighborhood context that projects like this will provide. With that, I would like to welcome up, as I mentioned before, it takes literally a team to be able to make projects like this happen. And you'll hear a little bit more, I think, from Todd Lee, our director of the Housing Finance Agency. And right now, I'd like to bring up our fantastic director of the Department of Housing and Community Development, Polly Donaldson.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. It is just a great day to be here. Even those who are, I know, enjoying this fair weather, think of all the gardens that are growing. But I do want to, of course, first acknowledge Mayor Bowser for her vision and leadership. I say this very often, but I think everyone needs to know what we're doing here in the District of Columbia on affordable housing is unprecedented nationally. And we have received the national, and Mayor Bowser has received the national recognition of that, not just through investment of resources, but through creative policies and practices and using every affordable housing tool to make projects like this one happen. So I do want to acknowledge Mayor Bowser. Thank you. And, of course, Brian Kenner, because I know his 3 jobs, and I'm part of one very big part of it, and so I appreciate being reminded of that as well. To Todd Lee, who he and I are at all of these events together, it seems, which just shows how important it is to have all the financial tools available for projects such as this. Steve, great to see you as well. He's the money guy from SunTrust. You'll be hearing from him later. But, of course, the development team, and I do want to acknowledge NHT Enterprise and IBF Development. It takes nonprofit and for-profit mission-oriented focus to make this happen, and it's great that you're in the production as well as preservation business. So congratulations to you as well. Yes. And not to overlook, of course, what's known as MQW, which is the Mount Carmel folks, Quadrangle, and the Wilkes Company. So let's acknowledge them as well as important partners in all of this. This is June Housing Bloom. We're coming to the conclusion today. What have we been able to do is actually we had earlier this month a fabulous housing expo and home show that had thousands of district residents and those who want to be district residents come and find in one place all the housing resources across the government, across all agencies, and that have anyone who touched housing was there. And I think it was a fabulous event at the convention center and really was a great opportunity. So that's how we kicked off the month. But we also, as Mayor Bowser said, announced $103 million of new affordable housing development using the trust fund and other financial resources, which is absolutely wonderful. Having that $100 million each year, you can ask the money guys. They know that makes a huge difference in what private capital will invest here in the district as well. But we also launched the new Oramenta Newsom nonprofit developer pre-development fund. That was at the very beginning of the month. That is $3 million that will be available to nonprofits to help them make sure that those who are serving the most vulnerable and who are creating the affordable housing for the lowest of income and moderate income families and individuals, that they have the jumpstart funds they need to get their projects going. And so that's a great new initiative that applications are open. I encourage folks to apply now. It's all available online at DHCD's site. We also, and this is important for those of us who know that preservation is just absolutely critical to the work that we're doing. Yes, we want to produce new affordable housing, but we must preserve our existing affordable housing as well. We have a new preservation fund that will be kicking off this summer that will have up to $80 million of capital over the next 2 years to be able to do that. But even more importantly, we have finally produced the regulations for DOPA, the District Opportunity to Purchase Act, where the district can work with properties that are at risk of losing their affordability. And so I'm appreciative of that. We have a little bit more of a comment period, and then we will be live with DOPA this summer. So I think that's an accomplishment of many years as well. Thank you. So one of the things, and I think obviously our development team and others know this, that we work, this project is a great example of how we have consolidated our resources, streamlined them across district agencies to support one of the elements of this project, that is permanent supportive housing. So we have Brandy Gladden here from the Department of Behavioral Health. We had other resources from the DC Housing Authority, the Local Rent Supplement Program, obviously Todd Lee at the Housing Finance Agency, you'll hear from in just a moment. But there's a one-stop shop at DHCD. You can come in and apply for those resources across agency. It's how we're building our permanent supportive housing stock. It's how we're making it so we can serve our most vulnerable citizens, so the church can accomplish its mission, and also the community and the neighborhood can accomplish that mission. So this is a shining example of that, and I'm very grateful to that. And last but not least, I do want to thank the DHCD team that is here. Can you all raise your hands? There's a bunch of folks here who worked on this, including Joe Naxted. That's one of his first projects here. He's in the back. And then our new Deputy General Counsel, Dion Mawe, who was able to, this is her first project, and I think it's a great one. And so we look forward to many more. Thank you all very much, and let's keep going. Thank you. Here is Todd Lee from the Housing Finance Agency. Thank you.
Okay. Excuse me. Good morning. This is actually a celebration. We are celebrating and closing out the June housing bloom. And here we're really celebrating Mayor Bowser's leadership and commitment to affordable housing here in the District of Columbia. And it's fitting that as we close it out, we would be celebrating the breaking of ground here at Liberty Place. DC HFA closed on the issuance of $16.8 million in bonds and also $12 million in low-income housing tax credit equity in order to, bring the financing to this project. I would like to thank SunTrust, who actually invested in both those bonds and those tax credits. It takes not only the public sector, the development community, but also private capital that has, that prioritizes, a public mission in order to get, projects such as these done. I also would like to thank Scott Klein and NHT for its stick-to-itness and ability to bring this to fruition. I also want to congratulate Mount Carmel Baptist Church in their effort to plan this out and their vision for bringing this housing to this location. Back during the summer of 2015, Mayor Bowser convened the Housing Preservation Strike Force in order to come up with recommendations to combat the loss of our affordable housing units here in the District of Columbia. Polly Donaldson chaired that committee. Sandy Wilkes also participated, in those discussions on that committee. And that body came up with 6 recommendations, all of which are in some stage of implementation. Polly mentioned one, the creation of the Preservation Fund, which was announced not long ago. That's actually a very, very big deal. One of the things that kept coming up as we were having our discussions to come up with the 6 recommendations was the fact that you cannot talk about preservation without talking about also the creation of new affordable housing in this city. It goes hand in hand, preservation and creation. And Liberty Place is the manifestation of prioritizing the creation of new housing in terms of that plan. Before I sit down, I want to thank the DC HFA team and all of its staff who worked on this deal. Congratulations, good luck on the development, Scott, and I can't wait to come back for the ribbon cutting. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Mayor Bowser, Deputy Mayor Kenner, our other distinguished guests, thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name's Steve Smith, and I work as a relationship manager at SunTrust Community Capital. And day to day, my job is working on spreadsheets and negotiating and working on what we call the deal. But today is a good day. We get to come out and move some dirt. Yeah. This is why we do what we do. At SunTrust Community Capital, we provide debt and equity capital for affordable housing properties. We do this in Washington, D.C., and throughout the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic every day. In fact, we've deployed over $4 billion into 40,000 units of affordable housing in this region and in the Southeast. In fact, more importantly, what you all care about is SunTrust has deployed $72 million into affordable housing in the last 12 months in the district. We're very proud of that. But we could not do that without great partners. It was a real pleasure to partner with NHT and IBF Development on this project. And this one, as you have heard, was a labor of love. It was about 18 months ago I stood out here on the sidewalk with Rob Richardson and a colleague of mine, and we talked about the possibility of providing capital for this project. And I know this idea of putting affordable housing on this site goes back much, much further. So it is great to see this. It's been a pleasure to walk this portion of the journey with you all. And we're looking forward to when construction is completed. I'd like to give a real shout out to DCHFA, DHCD, DC Housing Authority, and even all the attorneys who really played nice in the sandbox and made this happen. Congratulations to the team. We look forward to the day when 71 families will call this place home. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, I think we should do the groundbreaking while we can. So everybody on the program, please come forward, and we're going to snap some pictures with hard hats and shovels, and anybody who can make it under the tent, please do.
Kevin White. Kevin White.